As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Taking them so long.
Hey, these guys are professionals. They're the best.
Totally. I hate a guy with a car and no sense of humor.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Oh, yeah, the Great Bambino. Of course. I thought you said the Great Bambi.
It's the Al Travis Show. We're absolutely lucky to have this next guest on. He's Representative Walter Hudson. Representative, Merry Christmas to you and yours.
To you as well, and Happy New Year.
I couldn't wait to have you on, quite frankly, and just to kiss up a little bit. So I heard of this guy, this Nick Shirley, his ex, going crazy on X. It happened to be a holiday, and I was trying very hard not to play along and get all into it. So I watched some of it. Some of the people busted down some clips in it. I've not watched all 42 minutes. Then I get up today, and there's Walter Hudson. And you're going to have to tell me how you do that. You're talking your feelings through the whole 42 minutes on your podcast. I'm sorry. What's the name of the podcast?
Closing Argument.
Closing Argument. Thank you very much. I was going to remember that. So you're doing that thing. It's like Mystery Theater 2000. Do you remember that back in the day? But you're not in silhouette. You're right there. And quite frankly, I couldn't stop laughing. I appreciated what you did. First, your thoughts on the Nick Shirley deal.
Well, I think it's quite an inflection point in the conversation. This gentleman was at our last meeting of the House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Committee, had no idea who he was. Every once in a while, you'll get approached by people who, want to talk to you, have questions. Sometimes they'll be recording, right? And this was one of those situations. And we had a nice little interview, and then he went and talked to Emma Greenman. And the next thing I know, he's all over the internet, blowing this thing wide open, just using a simple phone and microphone, asking questions and showing up to these daycare centers and supposed healthcare operations, asking really basic questions like, hey, can I sign up my kid to get some childcare, or can I get some rates on healthcare, and being treated like he's the enemy, which was very, very telling.
The story goes, and when I started today, that some 75 million people had saw that X that he put out. Just before you came on the X, Elon Musk says, wow, and it is the fact that it has gone over 100 million views out there across the world. And according to Elon, that's more than all subscriberships to all newspapers in America.
Yeah.
Here's what gets me, and I'm going to ask you to expound. I still feel there are probably 50% of all Minnesotans who do not know or do not believe this is anything than a right-wing conspiracy. They're not getting it from the Star Trib. They're not getting from Channel 9, Channel 5, Channel 4. Now, they've all done a thing. Oh, we found this one, but they're not covering this like this X did.
No, they're not. And that's one of the things that's highlighted by this is the contrast of, again, one kid who's not a professional journalist doing the work of actual investigative journalism and doing it in short order, right? It's not like this was like a months-long investigation that he conducted. He just found sources and asked questions and got it all on tape and slapped it together in a 42-minute edit, and in one fell swoop has done more to expose the reality of what's going on in Minnesota with Medicaid fraud than the entire Minnesota media combined.
If people haven't seen it, it's Nick Shirley, double Y. I don't know why Nick Shirley on X. You'll get it. It's the most popular thing going on X. But for the most part, now bust it down, the highlights. He goes to a place called Quality Leering Center. There's no N in it. It's misspelled on their billboard. It says that they've got 1.9 million last year for 9,900 kids. And when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's an office building that would fit 16 people, let alone 100 and some kids, no windows, no stuff. And so he goes and asks them, and they basically boot him out. And I think to myself, like you say, a kid He's got his mom, looks like, carrying the phone to videotape him, and he's carrying this little handheld mic, can expose this. Here's what it exposes. Quality Learning Center is what I'm calling it now because the N is missing. The Quality Learning Center, DHS from 2019 to 2023 gave it 95 violations. 95 things were wrong with this place, including hazardous materials being where kids could reach it. The fact they only had 12 kids, that's all they had, and the 12 didn't have names of next of kin or anything filled out. It was just, we say we have 12 kids. Well, evidently, since then, they've gone up to 100 children and $1.9 million in money given to them last year. Sir, am I a nut job? But how bad are you at your job at DHS if you know this company has roughly 20 violations a year if they're going every year, 95 in that 4-year period, and you see them grow from 12 to 100 and you haven't gone back in? It's beyond negligence.
It is beyond negligence. If I recall correctly, the last time they were there was in March. And so, that's one of the points that a lot of folks, including myself, have been making is it's not out of sheer ignorance that this has been allowed to continue. It's been willful allowance of this obvious fraud to continue. In other words, state agency employees have seen what we all just saw. They've seen it. They've been there. They know all of the red flags. They've seen the blacked out windows and the misspelled signs and the complete lack of kids. And rather than further investigation or shutting off funds, they've just continued to allow the money to flow. Okay, let's talk money for a sec. And I'm just not a math guy, but $1.9 million in a year, and they have 100 kids. That's $19,000 a kid. Does the state of Minnesota, and I'm talking from outstate here, Minnesota, okay? I'm southern Minnesota, right on the Iowa border. I believe our median income is about $36,000 in southern Minnesota. Are you telling me per every kid, we give almost $19,000 of Watch-A-Mate hours a day? Well, that's assuming the kids are real. And, okay, get started on that. But you get my point. That's what we pay for daycare? Half of what a human would make if they worked? You have 2 kids, why not stay home? Well, what about the adult daycares, which aren't even covered in Shirley's video, where you're talking about people buying houses with cash, claiming to take care of 5 adults, and they're pulling in over $800,000 a year? Really? It takes $800,000 to take care of 5 adults over the course of a year? See, this is where I gotta think there's some math that people did on purpose. The autism thing. Somehow there's enough money in autism to say I don't have a degree, but I have a place and I bring little Al in and we treat him. There's enough for me to kick back a few $100s to mom and dad to bring him to my place instead of somebody else's, yet I'll still make money. Then we know we're setting it up for fraud. This should be, 100. I work for autism kids and I get by because it's a love of kids in my life. 100%. I mean, and that's the thing is that we know for a fact that this has been going on. We know for a fact that kickbacks are a huge part of it. In fact, one of the things we hear anecdotally from whistleblowers again and again and again is that there's bidding wars that take place between providers over how much of a kickback they're willing to give to parents to bring their kids into their daycare, their autism center, their tutoring facility, whatever it is that they've got set up. Kickbacks are a huge part of this. And that's, if you just follow that through to its logical conclusion, why hasn't the community risen up and turned all these people in? Well, it's because they're getting paid too. Everybody's getting paid. How far is it even possible? How far down this can we go? Yep, gal renting, feeding our futures, got us for $15 million, whatever the number is. Easy to find, top line. Next guy down is getting $6-7 million. Next guy, the 2 people from Pennsylvania, 3.9. These are big cats. We got them. Are we going to find the moms and the dads who didn't have autistic kids, who signed them up for an autism class so they could get $500 a kid back? Will those people see any jail time? Is that criminal enough? There's just too many, I'd imagine.
$1 billion?
According to when we've raised the issue in committee, Democrats and state agencies have said, well, technically this isn't illegal in Minnesota. It's against federal law, but it's not against state law, so there's nothing we can do about it. We've heard that in committee.
It's not illegal to put your kid falsely into an all autism course and get $500, whatever it is. That's not illegal in Minnesota?
That's what they've said. In fact, we passed legislation this past session in an attempt to address that. But that's what they've been saying, is that, well, there's nothing we can do because kickbacks aren't a crime in the state of Minnesota. Okay, thanks. Good job.
And that's since we had the first child care problem back in 2017. I want to ask you this to go to the break. Do you believe that enough of the other side, obviously Republicans on this, Donald Trump's on this, Kash Patel's on this, Nick Shirley's on this, I presume Walter Hudson is way on this, Christian Robbins way on this. Everybody expects the right to be jumping on this like, a dog on a dog treat. I don't seem to believe there's a lot of Democrats speaking up. Do you hear any Democrats saying, whoa, stop, what did we do wrong here?
Yeah, actually, I do. I mean, listen, I will be gracious. Our Democrat members on the fraud committee, in particular, Emma Greenman, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they have been saying they've been suggesting things that can be done, right? Whether it's technical stuff of implementing AI or whatever the case may be. In Greenman's case, she's kind of been getting to the heart of it, of like, why do we do this way? Why are we providing these services through these middle people in the private sector, whether they're nonprofits or for-profit businesses? Now, her spin on it is steeped in left-wing ideology, where she's upset because somebody's making money, right? Like that's the problem, is we need to have universal health care and all of this stuff. But what it tells me is that to the extent that this is a premeditated cartel style crime or conspiracy, which I believe it is, not all of the Democrats are in on it. Some of them are like, what's going on here? The problem is that their partisan loyalty and the expectation of circling the wagons and protecting walls transcends whatever concern they may actually have.
Well, I want to talk about protecting walls when we come back. I find it interesting, today's headline when I got in. Walls and Democrats tap influencers to spread their political message. That's the story in the Star Trib today, that Walls is going to use political influencers to change our minds. When someone has 100 million views on X that rips them apart, and that doesn't make the paper. We'll talk about it next. Representative Walter Hudson next.
Braver Angels Minnesota is part of a national movement that brings together conservatives, liberals, independents, and others to restore trust, respect, and goodwill in politics. We seek not to eliminate our differences, but rather deal with them head on, with respect and understanding. We do not try to change people's views, but how they view the other side. There will always be differences. Braver Angels Minnesota believes the best way forward is to change how we deal with those differences. Join the civil conversation at mn.braverangels.org.
There's never a good time for car trouble, especially when you've got places to be. Whether it's a mysterious rattle under the hood or just time for that routine oil change, you need a mechanic you can trust. That's where Jay's Auto in Blue Earth comes in. From strange noises to engine diagnostics, Jay and his team provide honest service at a fair price. They're proud to keep their neighbors on the road safely, season after season. Don't wait for a breakdown. Stop at Jay's Auto today or call 525-1052.
Easily offended? The Al Travis Show is not for you. The Al Travis Show. All sides are welcome.
And we're lucky to have him. He's Representative Walter Hudson on the program. So, Representative, the big story after 100 million people on X saw this X from Nick Shirley, which, by the way, is like 1/3 of all of America if it was just Americans. The story in the Strib is Walz and the Dems are using influencers to spread their good word. I got it. The guy running that place actually is an ex-Walz committee guy. Okay, fine. You just take that. But we have other papers in this state. We have other news organizations, 9, 11, 5. They've all done a thing. 30 seconds on this problem. This might be the biggest thing to happen fraud-wise ever in the history of America. And I'm telling you, I think half the people, 40% of people, don't even know what's going on. How is it possible?
Right, which is why that article, first of all, in the complete void of coverage of the Nick Shirley story, which is undoubtedly newsworthy, like while not covering that at all, they have the audacity to put out an article talking about how Tim Walz is going to get some influencers to spread his gospel. That tells you something. But then on top of that, the idea that this is going to work for them. Listen, you want to know why people like Joe Rogan and all these guys with podcasts in 2024 were so impactful? It's because they're filling a void that's been created by the legacy media. It's because people are hungry for truth and authenticity, and they're not getting it from the evening news, their Sunday newspaper, or when they turn on the radio for their top of the news update, right? They want to know what's actually going on, and they want to hear from the people who are directly involved, and they want long-form, in-depth conversations, and they're not getting that from the legacy media. And so you're not going to be able to, in order to have, you're going to have a bunch of left-wing, quote-unquote, influencers out there doing podcasts saying the same damn thing that you hear every night on the evening news. There's no market for that. Sorry.
So, but maybe no market, but does the defense that the media is playing for the Walz and down, I can't believe the lieutenant governor is not even mentioned in any of this. Is she not in the meetings? They're giving enough cover that she could become your next senator, say U.S. senator. Are they covering enough, blocking and tackling enough to make this work? Walz thinks he can win. I'm not too sure he can't win in the state of Minnesota. That's the problem. You get the truth out there, let it all lay out there, but I'm telling you, 40% don't have a clue.
Well, I mean, we got to work with what we got, right? I mean, the having this alternative media, having folks like Nick Shirley and others who have been
Walter Hudson.
Yeah, well, and there's also I do have to say, I mean, we paint with a broad brush when we talk about legacy media. There have been good reports done by legacy media. Care 11 is one of them, where they've gone out and done the type of investigative work that Nick Shirley just did. It didn't have the same, pizzazz in terms of confrontations, but it was the same style of showing up to a place and being like, where are the kids at? Right. Yeah. So the work is being done, but it just it hasn't caught fire like it just did with Nick Shirley because of the way in which he went about it and the reach and the trust. Frankly, people are more likely to trust a 20-something-year-old kid who they've never heard of or met before than they are a professional reporter who's been in the gig for 30 years.
It's because he looks like a 23-year-old kid who walked up and just asked the questions the rest of us should be asking. He had no polish on this thing. He walked around and you'd see his mom in the camera or whoever that is. Because it really came off as, oh, gee, I just want to know what's going on. And he asked the question. He gets the door shut on him. It works because it is truthful. Sir, I got to fly. I'm out of time. I appreciate you being on the program and doing this with me. I really do. We'll see you in a week.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. He's Representative Walter Hudson on the Al Travis Show.